Yo, what is going on? DSFC. Oh, this isn't an event. This is the Champions League group draw. This is going to be the event where we find out where each and single fighter goes into the group draw. This will be going over every single fighter one by one, putting them into groups. The Champions League, there's $125 on the line. So, there's a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation for this event. But before we get into all of that, let me introduce the co host that I'll be having with me today, starting with Oscar. What's going on, brother?
Salutations, fine Huz. I hope everyone's going well. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yes, sir. And moving on to the second co host, Jordan. First time on the booth, brother. What's going on?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Excited to be here. Excited for the first time, and let's get ready for the Champions League group draw.
Yes, sir. So this is Jordan's first time commentating, man. So he has first best seats in the house to see who goes where. So the Champions League group draw, we have 16 possible fighters. We have Maxi, Randall, Ian, Bosmer, James, Ian, Howard, Kerr, Swavey, Heisenberg, Oath, Nick, Two Guns, Cass, Draco, and Buck. Each and every single one of these fighters had to fight their way into this Champions League. Most of these fighters are former champions. Some of these fighters are two-time title challengers, and some of these fighters were able to get in through the qualifiers, such as Buck, Quills, Draco, and Cass. Those are the three fighters that were able to get in through the qualifiers. Jordan, you're somebody who's familiar with a few of these names. What can you tell me about this?
So we'll start off with uh,
Okay, my fault, my
let's
fault, my
start off
fault.
with
Let me
Cass.
let me explain how it works first. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, okay,
But
okay.
there is four groups of four. In each single group, they will fight each other two times. So if you only fight the people within the same group that you're in two best of three series. In those best of three series, there is a point system. So if you finish somebody in the first round, you get 3 points. If you finish somebody in the second round, you get 2 points. If you finish somebody in the third round, you get 1 point. And if you take it to a decision, you get nothing. So we advise, we strongly recommend for fast paced action because the longer the fight goes, the less you win from it. So decisions get 0 points. After the six group stage fights are done, the top two players from each group will qualify to the playoffs. The bottom two of each group get eliminated. This means that of the four people in the group, two go through, two don't make it. How does a Champions League work in Xbox? In Xbox, there's only one big group. So instead of four groups of four, there is just one big group of 10. And in Xbox, instead of fighting the same guy twice, you only fight one person, but you fight six different people. So in Xbox, there's a 10 people group. It does mean that six people qualify, four people get eliminated. So the top six in Xbox go through to the playoffs. The top two in Xbox automatically qualify to the semifinals. And this means that the bottom four get eliminated. So number 10, number 9, number 8, and number 7 go to Cancun. That being said, timer starts for the first draw. Now, sorry about that, Jordan. So, with those fighters
No
left on
worries.
screen, what can you tell me about them?
So first, we'll start off with Cass, and we talk about Oathead. So these two fighters have a very quick fighting style. This fighting tournament uh, is gonna benefit by people who are brawlers and people who mix up the body and head very well.
Huh?
People like Randall and Hour are going to need to step up their pace. And um, this is all going to be about how you can throw out your weapons and how fast you're able to get your opponent out of there.
Yeah, I think somebody like Ira has to lock in because I was somebody who, I mean, Howard has the type of grappling that can be very effective in like a Kamzat type of style. Like just get him down and try to finish him. But he's always very like he prefers to take the long run. But I feel like Howard he definitely needs to step up his pace in his group stage if he wants to succeed in. Oscar, 30 seconds left into the draw. Before we get the first draw, what you thinking?
I'm thinking I want to see James get put in a very competitive group. I want to see how he matches up against a lot of these new, sweatier, less sexually experienced players such as Maxi, Kerr, Cass, those kind of guys. So
Hmm.
I'm really looking forward to seeing a bit of James in this Champions League.
Okay, 10 seconds. Let's see. Let's see who goes the first pick. Who goes into Group A? Let's see, man. There will be a wheel that will be spinned between every single pot one fighter. All pot one fighters going to one wheel, and all pot two fighters going to a second wheel. See it. And
Ooh.
it's our. Yep, it's our. Our goes into Group A. So first pick is out of the way. Our man, former champion, man. He's done a lot in season six, man. He was one of those fighters that took off early into season six. However, his end to season six was kind of questionable. So, what do you guys think about that? Our goes into Group A.
So Auer has some big wins over Swavey, Oni, and Cub. He has good pace, but he needs to up his boxing pressure. He has very good pocket boxing, and he has very good slip counters. If he works it up into the body, using fast-paced counter boxers, I think he will have very good success in the tournament.
Hmm.
He just needs to up his pace and pressure.
What about you, Oscar? What you
If
think?
I may, I saw a commentator for both Auer and Oathed and Auer and Heisenberg, and whilst both were losses, both were extremely competitive. I would say Auer got the first round against Heisenberg, who's an incredibly good name, incredibly talented guy. And Oathed, yeah, he had a really good first round. And it kind of just fell apart later into the fight. So even though he's not got those wins in his last two fights, he's looked incredible. So um, yeah, I wouldn't count him out at all.
Okay, okay. Yeah, those are very good points. Our is somebody who a lot of people forget. I don't know how good he really is, but Our is one of those guys, man. He won Rookie of the Year last year. That's controversial, A lot of people don't really consider him a rookie, but he won Rookie of the Year nonetheless. So yeah. So moving on, Group Group B. I'm sorry, Group B one. So I'm really interested. So this will be the first. I believe this is still part two. This is part two. So let's see. We're about to find out though. 5 more seconds. Let's see who goes into Group B. This is part two.
I feel like there should be music to go along with this.
Oh yeah, just pretend there is. I'll make sure to add it afterwards. I'll add it after that. And Cass goes into Group B. Congratulations, Cass. Cass was one of the fighters that made it to the Champions League through the qualifiers. Cass is somebody who went undefeated up until the title run. Um, he had a he had a very interesting. So Cass 6-2-1. Cass is somebody who went undefeated up until the title run. He well not up until the title run, up until the title eliminator. Cass unfortunately did lose in a very dominant fashion to Bosmer. Lost his zero that way, was able to work it. However, that title shot was in middleweight, in which Oath was able to pick him apart. So he also has a bit of a questionable rivalry with Bosmer. There was a no contest. There was the whole issue about whether they were holding up the division or not. So there was a lot of a lot of controversy going on around that fight. However, nonetheless, Cass was able to make it to the Champions League through beating Cub in a qualifier. Keep in mind, Cub was top five, qualified through the Champions League that way. However, he did not receive an invitation. Therefore, he had to go through the qualifiers, and he did not beat Cass. So we have Cass in the Champions League. Cass is in Group B, and we get ready for our second hot one fighter. So what you thinking? What you thinking, Oscar?
I immediately think of his performance against Oaths most recently, where he kind of got manhandled a little. But then I go, that's probably not the best that we've seen of Cass. And Oath's a really high level guy. I want to judge him by his wins, and that's his best one's probably Trenton, and he looked phenomenal in that fight. Put him out of there in a round. Trenton's an incredibly tough and well respected guy, so it was easily his most impressive win, and he looked great there. So his pressure is going to be perfect for the Champions League.
I agree, 100%. Everything you just said as facts. I think he has one of the best pressures to succeed in the Champions League. That being said, let's get a spin. Let's see who we got. Group number C. I mean, group letter C. And no way, no way.
Maxwell.
Maxi! Wow. Maxi gets picked very early into the group draw. Very early into the group draw. This is an Xbox fighter. This okay, so let's just get the big elephant out of the room. Maxi is the number one fighter in the world. Been there multiple times. PlayStation and Xbox. So this is a fighter that's coming from Xbox DSFC to fight in the PlayStation Champions League. So what are we thinking when we see a lot of these type of fighters from Xbox that switch over to PlayStation, and also to mention the other elephant in the room, Hub is coming off a 2-minute knockout against Maxi in the last event of the season. So Maxi getting picked this early is kind of crazy. Jordan, this is like your console now, so he's went on to over to your console. So tell me what you're thinking of Maxi into the Champions League, man. Group C.
Yeah, well, as you said, Max is one of the world's best. He lives on this game and he loves this game. As of today, he was number 27 in the world. He has hardly any deficiencies in his game. Um, I think the loss to Hub's also one of the world's best. I think you can't overlook it, but you can understate it. Um, he will be an absolute menace. He will be searching for first round finishes, and he will dominate in this league.
100%, man. And speaking of which, what do you think about Hub not being in the Champions League? Do you think that affects? I have the question. Do you think that affects Hub's legacy in season six? And do you think that affects the fighter of the season voting if somebody goes on to have like a crazy Champions League run?
Uh, Possibly. I think Hub is a great fighter, and other things probably came up where he couldn't make it, and he will be back next season.
Sure. Well, let's get it up, man. We get the final number one. Final first spin for Group C. Let's see who we got. Part two, we got Nick Huffman. Nick of the Hubs, man. Nick is up there, man. Nick's made it to Group C. The only, the only season one fighter in the Champions League. So congratulations to Nick, man. He's had one of the craziest longevities in the league that we've ever seen. This is somebody who I'm sure that neither you, Jordan, or you, Oscar, are familiar with too much of their game. They've done some of their best work in one of those earlier seasons. However, Nick has a win over Ian. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is already crazy on itself. So Oscar, what you thinking about this, man? I don't know if you're too familiar with Nick, but what you think about this?
No, no, I know Ball. I know Ball. I know he's a pretty strong grappler. I know he's got a pretty good win over Hour as well, who's in Group A. Um, Yeah, Nick's grappling is going to be a problem. It depends really who he's matched up with. If he's matched up with a couple of guys that aren't as well versed on the ground, that could very be pretty interesting for him. But I'm not sure how well that game plan is going to fare in the Champions League. It'll be one to keep an eye on for sure.
What about you, Jordan? What you think about Nick getting pulled in Group C?
Um, I mean, we'll have to see how the rest of the bracket plays out, but I think Nick is a very dominant grappler with very good knees and elbows. I think he needs to really target the body with his knees and really go to work early. Um, he needs to shoot takedowns and get dominant pressure on his opponents. I think he'll have a lot of success. He's been relatively inactive recently, but that does not really compare with this. I think he needs to come up fast and you know, throw his knees, throw his elbows, and get to work quick.
Yes, sir. So now we're getting closer to the first number two in Group A. Who's going to join our? Who's going to be ours? Remember, they're fighting two times. So whoever we pull right now will fight against our twice in two best of three series. And Ian, whimpering Ian, goes to Group A. So our has his first matchup made. Ian goes into Group A, man. Oscar, this is somebody who you were matched up with, man. What can you tell me about Ian?
Well, before I had a chance to fight him, I was banned from the league. But that's all right. I didn't get a whole heap of time to watch tape on him, but I know he's a pretty well versed guy. He's pretty good everywhere the fight can go. Um, the most I've watched of him was his fight against Ian, and Ian's a tough guy to fight, tough guy to look good against. But you can tell, well, both Ians, that's funny. But you can tell that he knows what he's doing. He's going to be a problem for our, and he's a problem for most guys in this league. So, yeah, man, that's competitive Group A already.
Yeah, I mean, we see our and Ian. We see a former DSFC champion and Rookie of the Year of last year, and then we see Ian, who, like Maxi, has been number one in the world. I mean, we have multiple number. I mean, already have multiple number ones in this tournament. So, Jordan, I don't know if you're too familiar with Ian, but what can you tell me about this? I mean, this already made fight. I mean, we already have Ian versus our in the making. It's already made. It's gonna happen
Yep.
twice. What can you tell me about Group A, man? What do you think?
As you said, Ian's a multiple-time world number one champion. He's currently number six in the world as of
Hmm.
today, and he has some big wins over Draco, Ani, and Poncho. He has very good body work, and he is a slow, mythical, and a methodical marauder. He has very good pressure and pace, but he takes his time and throws his stripes when he needs to throw. And him versus Hour will be a very good fight. I think if Hour sets his pace, he could do very, very well in the early round.
You mentioned he likes to take his time. Do you think that'll come back to bite him in the ass eventually?
Possibly he could lose some of those points early on, and that could get him number three or four. You gotta get those
Hmm.
points, man.
Okay, okay. Well, let's see, man. Let's see what we got for Group B. We go back to pot number two. Let's see, who do we have? Two
Ooh,
guns. We have two guns, man. So let me tell y'all about two guns. So this is somebody who everybody and their mom is asking, why is this guy in the Champions League? Who has he beaten? Most people don't even know who Two Guns is. So let me tell you guys the story about Two Guns. Okay, Two Guns is somebody who joined the league very early into season six. He joined in Xbox. He's originally an Xbox fighter. He has both consoles. He has whatever. So he joined DSFC. Immediately started trying to be like the cloner or whatever, trying to talk shit or whatever. So he starts talking shit. He gets me in the mix, and he gets me. He put it simply, he basically rage baits me into banning him forever. He gets banned from the league because I'm just annoyed at his bullshit. So he gets kicked from the league. However, Comes to find out, this guy has been completely shitting on the league everywhere he goes. So, Champions League comes along. Ani gets, no more Ani in the league in the Champions League. So I'm like, you know what? I need a replacement. You know what? Who should I call? The guy that swears he's the best. So you know what? Let me hit up Two Guns. So I tell Oscar. Oscar was one of the people who was able to make this happen. Oscar was able to hit up Two Guns. He showed interest. We were able to make this happen. So that's how Two Guns was able to get in the Champions League. Basically, as you were talking all that shit. Now you gotta back it up. Like now you put yourself in a position where now you have to back it up. Now, keep in mind, Two Guns is pretty good fighter. Okay, this isn't I wouldn't put him in here if he was trash. Okay, Two Guns is a pretty good fighter that a lot of people are just not really aware of. So this gives him the perfect opportunity and the perfect platform to show himself out, show his skills, and really show the people what he's about. So that being said, moving on to Group C number 2. Who's going to join Maxi? Who is Maxi's first confirmed fight?
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
rough one.
Danger,
Bosmer.
Aussie Ping.
danger.
Bosmer goes into Group C, man. This is a. I know you. So Jordan, you joined the league around the same time Bosmer joined the league. So I'm assuming you're familiar with Bosmer. So what can you tell me about Group C, Maxi number 1, Bosmer number 2?
So Bosmer has a very good pressure and pace style. In his last fight with Jaden, it was going rough until it completely flipped. Um,
Yeah.
he has very good sways and very good uppercuts and hooks. I think he'll be a massive threat in the Champions League just due to his high level pace and pressure. I think he will be able to mix it up to the body and to the head very good with his straight counters and his hook and uppercut counters. I think he will be an absolute menace in this league.
Oscar, what do you think about this?
I think the ping's going to be interesting. That'll be a problem that I don't know if Maxi's had to deal with that much before in DSFC. Bosman's pretty
Absolutely.
good. He's a crafty dude. Again, it's sort of hard to say anything with much confidence until we've seen the rest of the draws. But immediately, like, yeah, it seems like. Hold on, what's happened? Yeah, it's Group C's got I think the highest rated players by the end of the season, like pound for pound wise. So that's pretty interesting to look at. There's two Group C's.
I'll fix that in the
It's a
editing.
typo.
Anyways, so yeah, so is Group C headed to be like the death group? Do y'all think?
If you had one more,
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
if you had
Well, now
Ian in
more.
there, I think it'd be a crazy one.
Yeah, for sure, man. I feel like Hub being out of it does, mess with it a little bit, but moving on, man. We got Group D, number 2. Who do we have in pot number 2? Let's see. Oh, man. One of the recent champions. You know what? I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna let Jordan do the talking on this one, man. Yeah, this is somebody who I know you're familiar with. So what can you tell me about
So,
Oath, man?
um, absolute all respect to Oathead. I do have a win over him. People might call it luck, but I call it a pull counter. Um,
Yeah.
he's very good everywhere. He's beaten Cass, Ian, Hour. Um, I don't think he has a deficiency in the pull counter. He just can't get complacent in the striking. I think he's got to go. He's got to target the body, use his block breaking and use his style to his advantage. I think he will score a lot of points.
Hmm,
He needs to
okay.
go. He can't get caught with a pull counter. He needs to. counter those pull counters and be able to strike. And versus Nick, I think he will dominate Nick. He's a great grappler, and I think he'll get Nick out of there pretty early.
Okay. So we have the first half of every group already made. We have Our and Ian in Group A, Cass and Two Guns in Group B, Maxi and Bossman in Group C, and Nick and Oath in Group D. So some of the fighters left, we still have Randall, we have Rycliffe's Apples, Ian, we have James, we have Kerr, we have Swavey, we have Hazenberg, we have Draco, and we have Buck. So about these names, man, who would you love to see go into Group A, Oscar?
Hmm. I want to see an Hour and Randall rematch, bro. That's what I want to see.
Okay. Okay.
I
That
want
will
to see
be a
James in
crazy
that group.
James. James and Randall. Hmm.
James and
Let's
Randall, yeah,
see.
I could see that being a pretty interesting little group.
Oh, let's see. We're about to get the third member of Group A in top one. Who do we have? Who do we have? That Will is getting skinnier. Swavy. We got Swavy into Group A, man. Swavy gets Group A number three. Swavy versus Ian. Swavy versus Our. It's official, man. Holy shit. Okay. That's banger. Yeah, that's a banger. I know bangers, and that's a banger right there. What do you think about that? What do you boys think about that?
I
Well,
think. Go ahead.
sorry. Or
No,
you,
go ahead. Go
Jordan?
ahead.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll take it. I think he has very clean style for this. I mean, his pocket boxing is so clean. Even his anti wrestling is and his takedown defense is very incredible. I think he has absolutely lots of potential to win this tournament. He has big
Hmm.
wins over Hub, Maniac, and Heisberg. Um, and his pull counters and his body work will be absolute domination. I think his biggest test in this division is going to be Ian, for sure.
100%. Oscar, what do you
Yeah,
think
man.
about that?
Look, I was kind of hoping to see Swavey versus Two Guns, but Swavey versus Hour is another one, man. That like that's been one that I've kind of secretly been wishing for throughout this league. Like Jordan mentioned earlier, not many people know, but Swavey's got a big win over Hub, so he's carrying a lot of momentum into the Champions League. So I'm interested to see how he matches up with Aaron Ian and whoever the fourth fella ends up being.
Yes, sir. Swavy versus Randall was unfortunately canceled at the SFC 53. James had to, step in for Swavy. Swavy was, having internet issues that were not able to be resolved in time. So we got Randall versus James instead, and we all know what happened. But Swavy,
Yeah.
Jordan said, he has some of the, in a lot of people's opinions, the best style to win the Champions League. So, him drawing Group A, it's honestly it's a fight that I can see Swavy winning. And Ian, Swavy versus Ian, I'm here for it all day. I'm here for it all day, twice on a Sunday. But I watch that fight every day. So that's a banger. But moving on to Group B, number three, Simberg. Mr. Walter White himself, drawing into group number B as the third member. We have Two Guns, Cass, and Heisenberg. Now, those are some bankers right there. I'd love to see Heisenberg versus Cass, and I also believe that they're in the same camp, if I'm not wrong. So that's gonna be a banker right there on its own. So, Jordan, what can you tell me about this fight, man?
I think Heisenberg mixes it up very well. I fought Heisenberg in Stanley, and his timing is going to be his biggest weapon. He's able to time the knees and the body uppercuts, and his hooks and his straights. He mixes it up very well, and his pocket work is also very clean. Um, he has big wins over Oathead, Hour, and Ian. Um,
Hmm.
I think
Yeah, he
he has a
does have
very
one
good
over Ian.
style Yeah, he has a very good style. He needs to up his pace slightly more. I think he has a good pace, but to get those points and to get the maximum amount of potential to move on, I think he needs to push the pace more.
Okay, okay. Interesting analyze from that. What about you, Oscar? What do you think about Heisenberg drawing Group B?
Well, Heisenberg, a fellow noticer, he's a very, very high level guy. We've seen a bit of ups and downs, bit of lack of consistency from him uh, in the DSFC so far through the regular season. However, he's made it very evident that he's a really, really talented guy, very knowledgeable in every facet of the game. I expect him and Cass to be a really high level war. Due to the nature of Cass's style, I do see it being an early finish either way. So I think Heisenberg's hand's going to be forced a little bit um, to try and like. There's going to be finishes by the looks of it every fight because all these guys here are either really aggressive or just like able to find the finish off a counter. Like Heisenberg's gonna be able to exploit two guns aggression for sure. And I believe he'll be able to do the same for Cass.
All right, now Group C, number 3. Who goes with Maxi and Bosmer into the Group of Death? Mm.
Fuck,
Ian.
that's a good one.
That's Maxi, Bosmer, and Ian going to Group C. Holy shit. Oscar, I'm gonna let you take over that one, man. You've been with that man Ian in the cage, so I know you're very aware of his skills.
Ian is a sweaty little monkey. That one. Uh, his striking was deceptively good. His timing's really crazy. But the thing that both me and my great pal Ghost both said that he did so incredibly well is that cage control, man. He just backs you up, he cuts off the cage, and he really makes you feel that presence in there. And so it'll be interesting to see how he matches up with Maxi, especially given that Maxi is known to be a bit flashy. If Ian can control that range and keep him backed up. That could be a potential upset, man. Ian's high level,
You see Ian upsetting Maxi in the group stages.
potentially, bro. I reckon he's got the style to do it.
So you think he beats him in a best of 3 series?
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I could see it. I could see it.
Okay, Jordan, what do you think about this, man?
I think Ian wipes out Matt Sam Bosmer. He has a big win over Winter and Ian. And that fight told me everything I need to know.
Okay.
Ian is very high level. The thing
Okay.
is, a lot of his finishers are late into the title rounds.
Mm.
So his pace isn't the best for the Champions League style, but if he can outwear these guys in the first and second rounds with his body work and his cage control, I think he'll have a lot of success in the Champions League.
Okay, so we have a lot of early backup, a lot of support for Ian, even though he's been drawn into the. Would I say that Group C is the group of death? Now that we're
The Shark Tank.
Yeah.
three players in.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. All right. Let's see what Group D has to offer. Group letter D. Let's see. Number 3, the last number 3. Buck, Draco, Orchard. And it's Buck, man. This is somebody who I know you guys don't really have too much history on. He was somebody who the reason why Buck was able to make it into the Champions League was because we all know what happened. Hub had to unfortunately pull out of the Champions League. He has some personal things to attend to. However, we got Buck versus Kevo in the Champions League qualifiers. Kevo won the first to fight, however, was not able to overcome Buck in a best of 3 setting. Buck did end up winning 2-1 in the Champions League. So, Jordan, I believe you were able to watch this fight live as it happened, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
So, what can you tell me
yep.
about that, man? The qualifiers, and what can you tell me about the group as well? How do you think he does in the group D?
I think still so far, still runs this group. I think Buck is a very good block breaker. He has very good clean combos. He lacked a lot of body work in the first and second fights. He started to pitch it up with Kevo. I don't think Kevo is very high level on the feet. He's a good grappler. He shot 33 takedowns against Buck, and Buck defended over half of them. I
Okay.
think Oat and Nick could absolutely out wrestle Buck. Um, but I think Buck has a lot of potential with his right hand. He just needs to mix it up to the body.
Okay. 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 Oscar, I'm not too sure if you're too familiar with either of the people in Group D. However, what can you tell me about it, man? Three people into it. Okay.
Look,
Matter of fact, just looking at all three of these groups, which group are you looking forward to the most?
I reckon Group C is going to be the highest level, but I reckon Group A is probably going to have the most interesting matchups.
Okay. Okay. Well, speaking of Group
I like
A,
Group B.
we're up. We're about to have the final member of Group A. See it, man. Spot number uno, which also means that we're going to get the final member of group number letter C because obviously there's only one left. He'll obviously go into the other group. Randall or James.
Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. I'll get to see my Randall and Hour rematch.
Randall, Albert, Ian, and Swavey all drawn into Group A. We have Maxi, Smer, and Ian draw into Group C. Holy shit. Oscar, talk to me, son.
We're gonna get to see Randall and Swavey the rematch. We're gonna get to see Randall and Hour the rematch. We're gonna get to see Swavey and Hour. And then we get to see Ian with all three guys, if my memory serves me correctly. So man, that's fucking brilliant, man. I'm really looking forward to watching Group A.
What do you think about Group C, man? Look at that fucking Maxi, Bossman, Ian, and James. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, James, that's man, that sucks because I wanted to see a few guys that James could really showcase his skill against. I think he's going to be able to do that still, but the pressure's really on him here, and yeah, it's kind of a little bit heartbreaking.
What about you, Jordan? What can you tell me about Group A and Group C, man? We got the full groups in front of us. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking Randall is gonna have a tough time in Group A. Um, Randall and Hour are gonna have a tough time. I think Swavey and Ian are have the style to do very good in the Champions League. And in Group C, I think Ian and Maxi are gonna have the best style to fit the Champions League. I think Bosmer and James are gonna do good. I think James is gonna have to play catch up. Um, he's
Okay.
a
So
very good
James,
fighter, but
James definitely the
yeah,
underdog of Group C. We all say.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, let's see. Group number B, group number D, about to be revealed very shortly, boys. Let's see, man. Heisenberg. We still have Kern, and we also still have Draco. Who goes into which group? First, we have Group B. Whoever gets drawn goes into B. Whoever doesn't goes into D. Let's see, man. Draco and Kerr. A lot of different worlds in each side of the coin. And we have wow, wow.
Hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, but Group B is just as good as Group C. I'm telling you, that's just how it is. Look at that, boys. Look at that group, man. Just look at this group stages right here. Look at this group stages right here. Holy shit. Starting off with Group A, we have Our, Ian, Swavey, and Randall. Every single one of these guys have been a champion before. Moving on to Group B, we have Cass, Hugans, Heisenberg, and Kerr. Every single one of these guys have been top 100 before. Moving on to Group C, we have Maxi, Hosmer, Ian, and James. Every single one of these guys have been champion before. Moving on to Group D, we have Nick, Oath, Buck, and Draco. Unfortunately, Draco is not a champion, but Buck, Oath, and Nick all have been champions. So this is peak Champions League right here. I mean, we have some of the best players going off against the best players. So, Jordan, bro, looking at this, tell me what's going through your head and who do you what's your predictions on this group? This is what I want to do. I want you guys to tell me who do you think goes through in each group.
Sounds good. Well, I think in Group A, it's a very tough division, just like the rest of the divisions. No disrespect to any guys, but I think Ian and Swavey are going to be able to get the most points and the most early finishes. In Group B, I think Cass and Kerr, I know they're good buddies, but I think they're both going to make it out of there. I think Heisenberg's very good, but he's going to be a little outmatched on the feet versus Cass and Kerr.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
In Group C, um, I think Bosmer has very good
Yes.
counters, which he needs to use to his ability very good. Ian could have struggles with his pace, but I do think Matthew will for sure, and I think Bosmer and Ian will compete, but I think Ian will make it out of there. In Group D, I think it's the underdog. I think there'll
Oh, hold on, hold on,
be
hold on. So you
um,
think you think in Group D, Maxi and Ian go through?
Matthew and Ian. Yep,
Okay. Oh, so you see Boxman and James going out.
unfortunately, yes.
Oh, interesting take right there. Okay, okay. On to Group D.
And then Group D, I think this is a completely underrated group. I think Draco has very good kicks and very good style. Um, I could see Oat and Draco make another. I don't underrate Nick at all.
Ooh.
But I do think Draco is improving at a very fast rate. I've been in the octagon against him, and I'm picking Draco as an underdog as well as Oathead to make it out of Group D.
Ooh, that's interesting. So you see Bossmer going out, and you also see Buck going out. And the Nick.
So,
Okay, okay. Very. You also see Randall and our both
unfortunately,
of
yes.
them going out. Okay,
Yep.
okay. All right. And you see Heisenberg as well not making it to the playoffs.
I think current cast their block breaking is just too good.
All right. All right. Oscar, what about you, bro? Who do you think qualifies in each group?
I've been looking at this really intently. I've
Okay,
been
okay.
I've got some thoughts just about the matchmaking. I know all's said and done, so it doesn't matter, but would it be possible to voice my opinion just quickly? I think to balance it out.
First tell me
Yeah.
who qualifies in each group, and then tell me how
All
you
right,
match them up.
all right, fair enough. Um, Group A, I think Ian's probably the only surefire one. I think our Suave and Randall, it's hard to really make a prediction. I'm buddies with all of them as well, so I really don't want to throw anything out there for certain, but I do think Ian's a lock out of Group A.
Okay,
Group
okay.
B, Heisenberg, not much more to it. Group C, Maxi and
You
Ian
gotta no,
are
you gotta go back.
probably
You gotta go back. You gotta go back.
all
You
right,
have to say a
all right.
group B. You have to say two names in group B.
Two names. I don't think Two Guns is making it very far at all. I've played him a lot. I think Cass and Kerr are just gonna beat him in his own game, and then it'll be between whoever can win between Cass and Kerr is going to join Heisenberg in the playoffs.
Interesting take. Okay, okay. Group C.
Yep. Uh, Group C, that one's pretty straightforward. I think I can say Maxi and Ian there. Unfortunately, as much as it does break my
Okay.
heart, I do see James struggling with these guys. And then Group D, again, Nick, legend of the game, as is Buck. I potentially see Nick and Oathed making it through. I'm not so sure about Draco, especially given that both Nick and Oathed are so strong on the ground. And
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's all going to be pretty competitive.
Okay. So you and Jordan both agree on Group C. So from
Mm,
Group A to Group B to Group B, it's all up in the air, y'all think. Well, you think.
yeah. If I
Okay.
may, for, just this is my critique on the matchmaking. I think to balance it out, we could have done Heisenberg in Group C, sorry, Group D, and then maybe a Buck or a Draco in Group B, and I feel like that would have made Group B a bit more balanced as well. Because I feel like Group C, as shitty, sorry, Group D, as shitty as it is to say it, I feel like it needs to be said. It doesn't look as competitive, as strong as the other three groups. Um, yeah, so I feel like I want to see Oath tested a little bit more. I want to see Nick tested a little bit more, and I feel like they're not going to get that in their current group. And I wanted to see Ian and James swap places as well, because then you get a bunch of crafty vets in Group A, and you get some absolute killers in Group C. Then you get a real group of lean, mean, killing machine motherfuckers in Group C that have never seen breast before.
No, man, I think you're underestimating James a little bit, but
Maybe, bro.
to each your own, to each your own, But
Mm.
that's gonna be
James
the
just beat Randall with
Champions
Aaron
League
Elkins.
group stage. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yep. James is nasty, man. But
James
that's
is
gonna be the
good.
Champions League group stage. The Xbox Champions League fixtures will all be posted exactly after the stream, so don't you guys worry about it. It'll shortly be uploaded. Um, Keep in mind every single person in the Champions League in each group will fight each other two times. There will be two hour versus Ian's, 2 hour versus Wavies, and 2 hour versus Randall's. So it'll be two best of three series. So it's a possible six fights between each of them. Um, so that's gonna wrap it up pretty much for the group draw. So Jordan, first time ever in the commentary booth, man. What do you think? What do you think about the group draw?
I think it was absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see these boys compete.
Yes, sir. Oscar, what about you, brother?
I'm really excited. Even though I did critique the grouping a little bit, it's absolutely undeniable that this is going to be a hell of a show, and I can't wait to watch it, man.
Sir, so we'll see you boys Sunday with it's gonna start on Sunday, man. The whole Champions League starts on Sunday, so I won't exactly see you guys on Sunday. You might be on a Wednesday because the whole deadline thing. So we might see you guys next week on the Wednesday, and keep in mind this entire tournament will happen within a month to 5 weeks time. So it's gonna be very fast paced. There's gonna be a lot of fights going on at the same time. I believe there's going to be 106 fights happening within the next 3 weeks. So it's gonna be a lot of action going on. We'll make sure to keep you guys updated. So that being said, we'll see you guys in the group stage and the starting matchup. So and also not just the Xbox, but the PlayStation matchups, like the actual schedules will be released onto who you fight first and so on. All of that will be released after this live stream. So make sure you guys will tune in for that. That being said, we're pretty much done here. So I'll see you guys Wednesday and we out.